Well, it's almost the end of the year. World 10 has to be reviewed, so the TSK aren't jumping on the case like some cool badass private eyes. I just went into a whole thing. I kind of wish we were a private eye show. Went into a space mode. DC, Harold, Rob, Big Mike. The boys are here to review World's End. I think we're a little indifferent on this whole show. Some may have loved it. Some say the answers were correct. I say there was a lot to be left on the bone there. You're one of those people that you took a bite of the chicken wing and you said you were done with it. There's a lot of meat left on that bone, and we're going to go right through it. DC's already disgusted with himself, and I can't say I blame him. So, as I've always said, we don't do the pre-show. There's no time for the pre-show. Pre-show's about an hour long, but in all reality, in retrospect, there was no missing this opening match, which I cannot wait to get into, and I cannot wait to dissect it. A rematch from the rivalry, if you will, built from last month's Full Gear, but it's the one of the two semifinal matches in the Continental Classic Tournament. Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay. I guess he's no longer doing the Punisher gimmick. I don't know why he got rid of the Punisher gimmick. I like the Punisher gimmick. That's just me think, but came out looking like the United Kingdom days. Kind of like that. But one thing that I really love, and I think I'm just going to right off the bat with it, I got a lot of WCW vibes off this show. And by that I mean we started with one of the hottest matches we're going to probably see for the rest of this year. Granted, there's only 3 days. Probably only going to have just Raw by then. But still, this was spectacular as an opener.
You know what? There was some apprehension for this being an opener, and I mean, I get why it was the opener, why we opened with the first two matches that we did, but I really don't think with the rest of the card there could have been a better opener, to be honest. I think this was probably the perfect match to open the show with.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Set the pace for what the match order was going to be, and that the tournament and the finals were going to be kind of the focus of the show.
I mean, I'm sure there was some people going back there watching that match after that match and going, fuck, we got to follow that.
I think it really set the tone, because when you look at the character work of Kyle Fletcher, just really embracing this new heel run, the haircut and everything with his overall presentation, then you get Will Ospreay. It's a great mix, and I mean, it continues the feud, the rubber match, so to speak, coming up. So I think also as a best way to do it, it enhances the Classic, really enhances what the Continental Classic is all about, while also continuing a feud between the former bruvs. So I mean, if there's any way to start it, much like Robert said, you start up high-octane, fast aerial assault, so to speak, but also have that overall tension that we have between the two. So I think it was a nice pace and a nice start.
Agreed. All right. I say this at least once an episode. You cannot break this down as much as you can. This was I think we were all beside ourselves. Teddy and I at one point could not stop talking double-digit stars, even though we all know that doesn't make sense. It was just, it had given you the, how in the hell did we get here and the show just started vibes. If you missed 5 minutes, you missed 5 minutes too many. It's just, it was one of those scenarios where you had to be here from the second of the entrances, and it was 150 miles an hour the entire time, right down the Autobahn if you want to get crazy. I love this. However, I have to get to the first part of it. And now, granted, we kind of understand why now at the end, but my initial feelings at the end of this was the wrong guy had won. So, before, obviously, we now know the difference. Everybody listening to us now knows what happens at the end, and you know what I mean? The end of the story, if you will. But, initial feelings. Were anybody in my boat, or was I in the minority? If the ending was not the ending, should Kyle Fletcher have won this match?
No, you definitely weren't in.
No.
You weren't headed to the Lonely Island, because we had talked about this over on Deep Into the Art of Wrestling. Like, how cool would it have been? This would have been a star-making performance for Kyle Fletcher had he pinned Ospreay and Okada in the same night. Like, that would have sent this boy to the stratosphere.
Absolutely.
And on to Robert's point,
we didn't think Tony had the balls to do it, and we were right. So
Yeah, that's the thing. To go off on Robert's point, I look at it like this. I understand the conclusion because, Osprey and Okada, chaos, it has the history there. We've seen them wrestle before for the IWGP World's Heavyweight Championship in New Japan. So, I mean, you have that nice tie in there, and plus they've had series of matches where Okada has won more of said matches. But when you have someone like Kyle Fletcher, we talk about the new character and the overall character work like you mentioned in his presentation. He has probably become one of the most best breakout stars this year for AEW. And I think overall that rise, he does have a victory over Okada, so you can follow that up for one of the biggest upsets of the Continental Classic. But in this particular scenario, I'm with Mo, I am with Roberto. I thought Kyle should have won, but I understand the outcome because of what we were going to get later with Okada and Osprey. That's the best way I can summarize.
Even if the IWC calls him Timo Randy Orton.
Randy Orton.
Yeah, I think as the pay-per-view progressed, I think it kind of showed why the result happened the way it did. So I like the way Mo worded it. At the time when you were watching this, how did you feel about it? It kind of implied that feelings could have changed by the end of the night. As we progress, we'll see what that means.
And again, we'll as you can tell, we'll get into the whole reason why feelings could have changed, and I'm sure for the majority of us, they did change. But you go from this high-octane, high-horsepower match, if you will, right into another one where you kind of thought it was going to be at the same pace, which was the second semifinal in the Continental Classic, Kazuchika Okada versus Ricochet, formerly King Ricochet, if we want to go all the way back to the New Japan days where they have a little bit of history. However, this one felt a little more like every other match you might just see on Dynamite. Maybe because it was a slower pace. Maybe because Okada is, and I quote, the greatest tournament wrestler there's ever been. Or perhaps maybe the rise of Ricochet was, or I should say the ceiling that most of us saw Ricochet have has already been, hit. And there's no breaking through.
This match was a little bit different. Whatever this character is that Ricochet is trying to flesh out, I guess it depends on who you ask. A lot of people are of the opinion that it isn't working. I am not one of those people. I think it is working because I think people are talking more about Ricochet now than they have been in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Even though the character is just a straight up cringy douchebag.
Yes.
They're talking about him.
Yeah.
I'll vouch for that. I will say that when I saw Ricochet get turned down by the Hurt Syndicate, I was like, bro, they're making Ricochet look like a total punk.
I cannot
And then he gets punked by Swerve immediately in the hallway right after. And then I was just like, it's over for this guy. And then after seeing this match, the ending of the match, Swerve coming out, that whole situation, it's not building empathy for Ricochet at all. I don't mean to imply that, but it's definitely an interesting angle where Ricochet is like hitting rock bottom. It's almost like the poor Baron Corbin gimmick in a way. It's coming off that way.
So if this somehow kind of unlocks like a Prince Puma type character in him, I think that would be pretty sick. But as far as the match goes, I thought the match was pretty good.
I thought it started slow and ended up building into a very solid match.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll add on to your guys' point. I mean, like Harold said with the Hurt Syndicate, I mean, I'll say Ricochet turned out to be the proverbial cuck, and then he got back to the back there.
100%.
Proverbial, Michael?
He's a flat-out cuck. A flat-out cuck. Yeah. So he goes in the back, like Harold mentioned, with Swerve. And I think the best part about this is, with anything in professional wrestling, it's all about the subtleties, the intricacies, and nuances. Much like with Will and Kyle, we saw the two headbutts that was more reminiscent of Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness from 2000 with that bloody headbutt spot. But in this particular scenario, and how apropos we had Prince Nana at the end, I mean, God rest his soul, Ricochet got Jimmy raved at the end of that. He got the toilet paper thrown at him. So, I mean, that's a nice little nod to Ring of Honor and a nice little stick there. But still, it heightens up Swerve and Ricochet. I mean, these two have history. Lucha Underground, Killshot, and Prince Puma. So, I mean, it works. It works on every cylinder. And like you said, we start off slow and then we get build and into the big spot with the Rainmaker 1, 2, 3. The right guy won. Ricochet has got to stop saying, Other than that, I'm cool with it.
I kind of don't mind
I'll
it.
say it. I'm gonna just say it. It seems like they're trying to turn Ricochet into this AEW Andrew Tate bullshit gimmick.
Oh God, I have not heard that name in a while.
And I'll say it. We all know the person I'm referring to is a grade A class 1 douchebag.
Oh, yeah.
Number one.
And is this really the gimmick that you want? Is this really the way that you want to push Ricochet? And the sad part is Ricochet is easily one of the top 10 wrestlers in the whole business. You know, WWE, AEW, New Japan, wherever. The guy is arguably one of the best. We know it. He knows it. But is this really the gimmick you want to go with?
I mean, it's a change of scenery to add that heel persona to him. And I mean, he did retweet his illegitimate father, Andrew Tate, on Twitter. So, I mean, we do have that nice little tie-in there. So, I mean, hey, why not? It adds a little cess to it, sort of, kind of, even though he is a grade A choice meat douchebag. So, I mean, him being the... Well, I mean, he does look like Andrew Tate if you put him in a dryer. So we have that small edge of douchebag to it.
There it is.
Goodness gracious. I have never in all of my days have made that comparison. Now, everybody now has to be forced to make that comparison because I was forced to make the graph. They went into the show. So
I have to see it and have to have that image in my head. Every single one of you fucking people has to see it too.
oh, it's glorious. So
Grab
yes,
your little phones, your Androids, your iPhones, and look it up. And once you do, you won't be able to.
you'll never unsee it. But as we stated, yes, Okada got the win. He will move on to the final. The New Japan, as they said, what was it? Excalibur had said, well, they normally throw streamers into the ring before the match. Well, of course, when you're shit, they throw toilet paper at you. So that's what ended up happening. It was glorious, an excellent little moment. As much as people think this might, downgrade him, deteriorate him, whatever, as the boys have said, Ricochet has been talked about more now than when he was stuck in Lucha Underground. That's got to mean something. It's got to mean something.
I guess time will tell.
We go to backstage where Renee is talking to a very bloody Will Ospreay. Checked on him. He's cleared. All is good. They talk about the history that they've wrestled with. He says he calls him his mentor. He came into the New Japan looking up to him. He's all excited. He says when he wins, he's going to go to Disney World. And in the immortal words of Tony Khan, I don't really believe that part, let's fucking go, lads. But hey, then again, he does own a football club. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, hold on, Mo. You gotta also, I'm going to flippin' Disneyland, bruv!
Thank you, Mike, because that irked the hell out of me. Because he's
going
saying
to California.
flip.
Disney World is...
Well, no, they're in Florida. They're in Disney World. So
but still, I know, but...
The thing that kills me is
Disneyland,
he's
bro.
saying flipping 1 minute, and then he's saying shit the next minute. Like, why? I'm going to fucking Disneyland, or I'm going to fucking Disney World. You might just...
Yeah, but flipping. You're flipping and fucking. Yeah, there you go.
Mike, I think when it comes to Tony Khan, there's only one phrase that really matters.
I think you know what
You
that
know
is,
it.
yes.
Robert
I know.
Davis knows it. I'm just going to say it. I'll pay you!
It's glorious. Speaking of ladies that got paid, or people that got paid, I shouldn't go right to the ladies, but hey, shout out to the ladies. Mariah May defending the AEW Women's Championship against Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight. Why is this title always before the TBS title, which was meant to be the secondary title.
The Mercedes.
Really?
Because
No.
the Mercedes.
No,
2 words. 2 simple words. Creative control. I'm gonna add a 3rd word. Ego.
I just don't get it.
Money.
That's
And a
terrible.
4th word. Piss.
Yeah. And a 5th. Shit. All right.
3 additional. I'll pay you.
Oh no.
I'll pay you!
No, stop paying her. Then maybe
Mercedes.
she can go away. Goodness gracious.
Maybe.
He can fix his football team with the money she makes. Anyway, not a bad match. Thunder Rosa, if there's one thing she's good at, is these street fights. However, I was afraid that Mariah was going to kill her, mainly because she is one of the stiffest workers I've seen. You add in weaponry and tables and the hoopla, and I just saw a disaster. She got a tequila bottle smashed over her head. There was no blood, which, again, I'm surprised at that from the ladies, but overall it was good. Thunder Rosa is going to probably go back to announcing now, which is, I guess that's fine. But the question still daunts and has always daunted. Mariah May has a chokehold on this women's division. Who in the hell is even going to compete with her? We had the teasing of Toni Storm, and it looks like she's got this whole identity crisis thing going on, where she is still kind of, you know, what's the glamorous side of her, and now it's timeless. Thank you, sir. But yet she's still trying to be a rocker, force people to do the fucking horns and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
she's doing some pretty fantastic character work, telling the story. Just kind of one interesting to note, because you know this is something we have talked about before. I think we even talked about this, Mike, but Tony Khan had mentioned, because there was questions of a Continental Classic for the women. Tony had mentioned that it would be a fantastic idea. There's just 2 problems: scheduling and injuries.
Hey,
Which kind of leads me to kind of ask, like, what injuries are we dealing with? Is this why we haven't seen, you know, some people in a while? Is this the reason why the women's division has been booked kind of, you know, weird lately? Like, you know, where the fuck is Shida? Like, we've only seen her a couple of times. We haven't seen Riho in about a year and a half. You know, Yuka Sakazaki. I know we just got Penelope Ford back. Ty Conti, she's on her way back. She's actually going to be wrestling at
got a match
with
Stardom.
at Wrestle. Well, yeah, she's going to be wrestling at Stardom and Wrestle Dream. So,
okay.
You know,
Full plate.
Rob, to kind of do a counterpoint to you, the women's division has always been something that AEW has kind of, I don't know if I want to say struggled with necessarily, but they've always had issues with getting the women's division where it needs to be. And it's difficult to see that, because you have some of the best women's wrestlers out there. You know, whether it's that person who I'm not going to say her name, because I absolutely detest that person. But you got so many talented people on your roster that you are not using. And it goes to the point that why is the AEW Women's World title, that is your main title, that is supposed to be the counterpart to the AEW World Heavyweight title, you would think one of them would be the main event, the other one would be the co-main event. One of them would be right before the other, or vice versa. But
that was kind of my question, though. Like, if you know we're having these issues, like what's going on? Who's injured? Why are they injured? Why are we not utilizing people who aren't injured?
To go off your guy's point, and I'll especially go off your point, Mo. I mean, With this match, I was very indifferent just because of the fact like it just kind of came out of nowhere with the cards and everything, and all of a sudden she said something about her dad, and they brought the father at ringside. I understand that, but the problem that I have is, like you mentioned, she has a chokehold over it. If you really want to do something different, you have someone who wrestled on the 0 Hour, that being Layla Gray against Toni Storm. How about you try to do something with Layla Gray? Build her up, because Layla Gray, former baddie, who was she with? Former TBS champion Jade Cargill. So she knows what it's like to be with someone who holds a prestigious championship. So she could be like, hey, I'm going to do this on my own now. I was a baddie, but I am now the baddie, and she could go after Mariah May. So you could build up a new challenger and Layla Gray. We saw it with Anna Jay, so we can have someone else who's on the babyface side of things because she's with Top Flight. Something different to really spruce it up, so to speak.
Could, but won't.
I know.
I was
Just spitballing.
Come on, DC.
I'll
We
pay you.
gotta be a
I'll
little.
pay you.
Gotta be a little positive, DC. Come on, brother.
No. Fuck no.
Fuck no. Okay.
But yeah, I don't know who you do after this. I mean, there is a shot. I mean, the build to Tony has got to be to Australia, where the con, not to be Tony Khan, but the con being that Toni Storm has been playing Mariah May, and that gets to Australia, and then the Timeless comes back out. Full force.
Yeah. So we've got 2 months to tell that story.
Drew that.
It's plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Don't drop the ball.
How so? rant me down, DC. Rant me down.
I
You
will
opened up
prove my
Pandora.
point by the
Where's
end
Boss?
of this pay-per-view. I will prove my point again and again
And again.
and again and again and again and again and again and again.
Weren't you the one that predicted the thumbtacks?
I
was
hate
TSR.
that I can
that's
see
right.
so much of this shit coming.
Oh, come on. It was cool, though, because it was in the piñata. That was badass. I'm not even going to lie. That
True.
was badass.
The point is, like, it may be a cool spot, but God, this whole
Stereotype
fucking
racism.
show was so
Oh,
goddamn
yeah, boy.
predictable.
Gotta love the,
I mean,
gotta love the
I mean,
racism.
I enjoyed the spot too, but I will say nothing will beat the Chris Statlander tax in the cooter spot. Let's just put that
Oh,
in
God.
Taxing the cooter.
Tax and the
Cooter
Cooters.
tax.
Thunder
Cooter
Rose's
tax.
dad is a champ out there.
You
He
know,
got,
just
he got his
like
cane
we
taken
said,
away, and they got called Yosemite Sam.
Give that man, give that man his
Just
cane back.
aside.
What the fuck?
Yeah, give him the game back. What the fuck?
Mike, when you say taxing the cooter, I instantly flash that someone should make a spoof between this and that old song, "Cats in the Cradle" by Harry Chapin. You know
The
the song.
silver spoon. Yeah, cats in the cradle and the
Cooter and
silver
the
spoon.
silver spoon.
Good.
Tax
Like,
on the cooter.
to me, there
And
is
then we'll have a good time then.
there is a spoof right there that just needs to be recorded. Like, I don't know.
I'll get right on it.
About to say, I was like, the music department will hop right on it. I don't know how to feel about this one. MJF versus Adam Cole for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. This is a story that has been through 2 major injuries. Somehow the crowd is still super behind this. The match was fine. It wasn't anything over the top, spectacular. Adam Cole can go, MJF can go. But why, if I could go right to it, why the fuck did MJF had to win? Like, what? And then just for Roddy and Kyle to come down and make the save at the end. Why couldn't they have come down and outnumbered the heel? And then, hey, we won and we got the stupid ring, and then the ring is gone because he doesn't need the fucking ring. He hasn't needed the ring in a while.
The one thing that I found funny though is Adam got pinned with the ring on,
Well, yeah.
and the ref like looking right at his hand, and I'm just like,
And then that was the other thing, too, because then there was that awkward, 20 seconds where Bryce keeps looking down, and he's like, I think that's the ring. Am I supposed to say something about the ring? That's the ring right there. I should say
Yeah.
something about the ring. But this whole thing felt, as Jim Cornette would say, like a mud show.
Yep.
Outlaw Mud Show.
Outlaw mud
bullshit.
show.
personally at this point, I had zero expectation. I was just
Yeah.
like, please let this be the end. I don't care about the outcome.
I was half right because I said on Diva to the Heart of Wrestling, I said I swear to God, if they have the Kingdom return on Adam Cole and we get Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly against MJF in the Kingdom, I will be pissed because then that means it's going.
It's just gonna keep going.
Going. MJF winning and then getting laid out by Five Guys. Not to be confused with Five Guys Burger and Fries, but Five Guys. Five Guys. It was just a way.
Mike, to be fair, Five Guys Burgers.
Such a waste of time.
It was, like Harold said, it was a waste of time. MJF wins and then he gets laid out by all of them to end the feud, and then people are booing because at the end of the day, MJF was the true babyface in this. When he hit that brain buster, that should have been it, but no, we had to kerfluffle it and keep on going.
You know, to be fair, and I'll just say it. This goes to the point that I have been making, that I have been trying to tell people. Tony Khan needs to step aside as far as head of booking.
Oh, he ain't.
Needs to step aside.
He's not moving.
He said he's going to be doing it.
You have got some of the greatest minds in wrestling working for you. You have Bryan Danielson. You have Jon Moxley. Even Claudio. Literally any of the people that work for you. With the exception of Pat Buck. Because, you know what? Fuck that guy. Fire him. And then back that thing with Halls.
Fuck that. Fuck.
Man, no thank you.
But you know what? No one can tell him otherwise. Because I guarantee you, Tony goes onto the internet to look at reviews to see what the sickos are saying. And no one, the second you try and chastise him over this bullshit, it's not okay. Like,
no.
He definitely
you had some opportunities to tell some stories here, but god damn, this whole pay-per-view was so fucking predictable. It was a goddamn glorified Dynamite.
Yeah.
Tell me one single match on this show that could not have occurred on a Dynamite.
Outside of the opener, I can't.
Nothing. No, exactly.
Even the four-way for the title.
So goddamn sick of this bullshit. Like,
yeah,
you have some of the best wrestlers that work for you.
It's getting asinine to the point where, if we get back to the match, where it was the United Kingdom were staying in there protecting the ring, and MJF pulls an Eddie Guerrero, which by the way, cheers to him for it. And he ends up getting him thrown out, and all the people in the fucking arena simultaneously yell no. And it was, first off, that was one of the coolest things I've heard in a long time in an arena. But it was like, it went directly to the ending. He grabs the ring, ends up kicking Adam Cole in the balls, hits the I forget his finisher.
The Heat Seeker.
Thank you. Hits the Heat Seeker, grabs the win. As he's celebrating to get ready to fucking leave, out comes Roderick Strong to make the save, chases him away. He thinks he's going to walk away. That's when Kyle's like, no, we're going to have a conversation. And then they all do this. But again, you could have simply had these dudes use the numbers to outsmart the heel. In that instance, you're not making these guys the bad guys. You're telling the bad guy, well, you're fucked. Oh, well, the numbers are against you. But as simple as it could have been, this was an ass-backwards ending. Again, as DC pointed out beautifully, that could have more than likely happened on a fucking Dynamite. But I get it. I get it.
Show.
It was a little glorified. A little bit. I'm not going to go over the top glorified, but it was a little glorified.
But, you know, here's the thing. And I will be critical of WWE when they do it. And I'm going to be critical of AEW when they do it. And this is what really bothers me about the AEW marks. No. And y'all know who you are.
My name's not Mark.
You don't say anything when AEW does this bullshit. But yet when WWE does it, every time you like to harp on them and say, oh, well, we've seen this before. This, because it was a glorified Raw. This was a glorified SmackDown. How many times have we seen this before? play both sides of it. Call it what it is. It's lazy booking on both sides. You could have easily created so many stories coming out of this show called World's End, meaning the end of the year. You could have created so many new stories out of here, but you played it safe. You thought, okay, here's the card. What chances do we take? Do we take this? No, let's play it safe. Let's do it this way. You didn't do that. Yeah. Which I will say it again.
A little too safe.
Tony needs to step aside.
Yeah, a little too safe. Yeah, I mean, you just at least you could have built the Wrestle Dynasty. We can rant about this.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
We can rant about this all fucking night long. Kenosha against Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't think there has been anybody that has worked better with Hobbs than Takeshita, because this was probably Hobbs' best match. I do want to emphasize that. I'm glad the kid's back. I'm glad the kid is back. However, though, I always go back to it. I'm glad that you're back, the who, blah, blah, blah. But are they really going to fucking do anything with you?
No.
Well, hopefully he's not hurt, because
oh, yeah.
The way he landed on that lead.
That was not that did not look good on the knee.
And to follow up what Rob said, I got a feeling this is going to be Ray Phoenix 2.0.
God, I hope not. I hope not.
I will say on my part, this was
I'll
one of the
pay you!
No, not that. Not that. I will say on my part, this match, it came out of nowhere. Because I think in my head, I was like, all right, if you have Powerhouse Hobbs... Well, first of all, the way he came back with Ricochet, talking about my partner is pissed, and, the contract expired, here's Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, they could have done something where Powerhouse Hobbs was in the back with Don Callis talking about, hey, man, I haven't heard from you in months, and anybody who could have attacked him, it should have been Brian Cage because of the history and continuity has, and he could have been the one to replace Hobbs. I've always been better than you. They could have developed a story with this, but this was just like, Powerhouse Hobbs, you're back. From outer space, I will survive. Gloria Gaynor style. This just came out of nowhere, and for me, again, great match. They synced, they had great synergy very well. The right guy went over. You knew Takeshita was going to get that victory, and I understand the example of him wanting to go for the TNT title, and the main thing in the Don Callis family right now, because he's such a hot commodity, that is Konosuke Takeshita. But at the end of the day, it just came out of nowhere. The return was, less than... dazzling or less than spectacular for me, and it really just felt like another thing on the show. Again, great match, not taking anything away from it, because Powerhouse Hobbs is a beast, but we've repackaged this man. We've seen him in the streets, so to speak, do take me back, Rocky 5 style. We've seen him doing the promos in the streets, so to speak, repackaging as this guy, look at how he grew up, the Book of Hobbs, so to speak. But the problem is we don't capitalize on that, and this is unfortunately the stuck in limbo thing that is Powerhouse Hobbs. I enjoyed the match, but the booking...
Just as a random aside, folks, we just had just had history here on Kicking It with the TSK. We usually have Harold that drops out randomly. We had Rob that dropped out randomly.
And then he came back with a horn.
History has been made up in here.
Been made.
Malachi Black showed up and then he left, so...
That's how it goes.
And Mike, to your correction, it was not Rocky 5. It was the song you were referring to was Rocky Numero Uno.
Well, Rocky 5 had the street version, Take Me Back from the Streets.
Ooh, he's right.
It was also mentioned initially in Rocky 1.
All right, whatever. I'm doing the street version.
But it was the streets, with Tommy Gunn.
I'm a movie buff.
Tommy Gunn only fights in the ring, Daniel. Tommy Gunn only fights in the ring. George Washington Duke, bitch.
Goodness gracious.
I'll pay you.
I'll pay you.
So again, good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Harold, please.
Into the match. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add that it's strangely how somehow I was underwhelmed with this match, but yeah, at the same time, it's kind of like Takeshita and Hobbs. Hobbs still has a ceiling after all these years. Sad to say, he hasn't improved much in the ring. He hasn't learned a whole ton. He's improved, but just not a ton.
No, not
so. The match, like how you said, Takeshita delivered. I think Takeshita kind of carried Hobbs in this match, which was to be expected. Takeshita winning was to be expected, which, like you said, begs the question, what are they going to do with Hobbs, especially when it was just so predictable that he wasn't going over it. It's like, what is his purpose at this point?
Honestly, Hobbs has so much potential, but I really feel like he is somebody that would do really well by them. And we all talk about how AEW needs to cut some people. Cut Will Hobbs. He is somebody who I really feel would excel in NXT.
With a lot of guidance, yeah, I can't disagree with that. I can't disagree with that. But then
Let
again,
him go to the Performance Center with guys like William Regal, guys like Shawn Michaels,
Billion.
and everybody that works in the Performance Center. I feel like somebody like Will, like Hobbs, he would do so well in NXT.
Him and Obafemi, him and Rick Williams, like there's matches right there.
Again, that would be tremendous. But I think
got the walk.
I think the writing was on the wall for a few reasons. Besides the fact that we know Takeshita's place, we know he's a hot commodity. But the winner of this match was going to go on to wrestle. Was it Shingo Takagi?
Shingo Takagi. Yep.
At Wrestle Dream. So yeah, had to be Takeshita. Sorry, had to be Takeshita.
There was no way they were gonna take the title off of him at this point. They weren't gonna do it. If they were gonna do it, it would have been like a month ago.
You're not. Yep, 100%. It would have been a long time ago.
Wrestle Dream is what, 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away?
No, the day after Wrestle
Next
Kingdom.
week. Yeah, Wrestle Dynasty is next week. Yep.
So Wrestle Kingdom is on the 4th. Wrestle Dynasty is on the 5th.
Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom, then Wrestle Dynasty. Yep.
Like, this is to when and this is what gets me. It's like people that think they are gonna do these title changes are the same kind of fans that when they have a title match on like a Raw or a SmackDown before a PLE, and you think, oh my god, they're gonna drop the title. Like, they're gonna have Kevin Owens beat Cody at a Saturday Night's Main Event. No, they're not gonna do that.
Now,
if anything, they're gonna wait until a premium live event or a pay-per-view and do a switch there. Use your fucking brains, people.
hold on, though, because I have to bring this up, because we got Mike here, so while Mike's here, I gotta ask him this. I swear there was one instance where there was a Raw that happened where the European Championship changed hands and somebody jumped on the Tron and said, how are you supposed to face me at a pay-per-view for the European Championship if you just lost it?
I think if what you're referring to is they had Jericho at WrestleMania 16 win, and then Eddie Guerrero won
No,
it the next night.
this was in the 90s.
Oh, the 90s.
I want to say this was a Triple H thing.
Oh, Triple H and Shawn Michaels during the Christmas, and then they had Shawn of the Bulldog. What was it?
No, it was Triple H, Michaels, and Owen Hart.
Okay.
HBK didn't want to work with Owen, so they did the whole HBK versus Shawn Michaels, or HBK versus Triple H. And
that
they
sounds
had
about right.
HBK virtually laid down, thinking, "Oh, hey, this is gonna stop the match." Well, they just switcherooed it, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had to bring it up because I swear there was this one time. So I mean, you can always make the argument, the semantics, if you will.
Semantics.
We always remember that one time.
There's that exact, as I always say, that one time, and then the rest of it we can't say here. Just bring up bad memories. Renee Paquette backstage again. This time talking to Okada. Same thing. Talking about Will. Calls him his little younger brother. He's on another level, but he's not on my level. Bitch. Because Okada is the fucking man and a half. I swear to goodness. Mercedes Moné, Chris Statlander, number 2 for the TBS title. I said it in the last time that we did this. Either Chris Statlander is her perfect freaking opponent, or she's finally understanding that you need work rate in this company. But Mercedes Moné, for the second time in a pay-per-view, has actually looked above par, at least in my opinion. Now, again, this could strictly be all of Chris Statlander, who is but a pure rookie, if you really want to compare, resumes. compared to Mercedes Moné. And if she's the one carrying this whole thing, then caps off to her, because this was a dang good match.
I will say this. The book, again, we talked about it on Deep Into the Heart of Wrestling. I was over it, but I will say this as far as this match goes. Very good. Great synergy. I will say this for the subtlety, intricacy, and nuance. I love that she got the pin with a very Drago Lucha Underground style pin that we saw in the Temple back in the day, which I thought was sweet. But I really will say this. Great chemistry, great synergy, that tombstone on the hardest part of the ring, and then boom. Everything worked out correctly. The 7 amigos, so to speak. Like, I think, again, like you mentioned, this is her best opponent. I hated the build of just, I'm making amends, I'm righting the wrongs with Willow. I had an epiphany, as we discussed last time. And then, okay, I'll fight you again. And then we're here. But it delivered, and if she does not win the championship by Revolution in the third matchup, that final last chance, so to speak, if you build it up as her one final chance, that hope spot, get her that championship by Revolution time. That is the perfect end to this story, so to speak. And I mean, we got Mina Shirakawa and her next week. Let's go, Mina, for that strong championship. There was a dance-off. Either way, I'm here for Mina and Mercedes, but I'm more here for Chris Statler finally winning that AEW World's Championship for the women's side of things and the TBS Championship. Let her get it back. I'm here for it. I think if they tell the right story to Revolution, it's all worth it at the end of the day.
I'm jumping on the mic train.
Save us, Mina. Please, save us.
Jumping on the mic train.
You know what? This match was really good. Mercedes has had, this was her either 14th or 15th match. And, personally, I can count on one hand probably the matches that I actually liked and that I thought were good. And, this was one of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kyle.
Sorry, bud.
But as long as she keeps this up and she can actually work a match.
She won't.
I got no. You're right, but I got no qualms if she does.
Hold on. I want to hear from Harold first. And then let DC do his thing. But good. Go ahead, Harold.
You know what? I hate to break your heart, player, but this is one of those matches that Paulette had me busy doing something, so I missed the entire match.
That's all good. All right. Well, then.
All good.
DC, are you relaxed enough?
Okay. So
this
is literally the same fucking thing that we have seen from Mercedes over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Same old shtick, and literally, like, are we shocked at this point?
Yeah.
And Mike, to your point, you talk about Statlander doing it again, getting it back from Mercedes. So you're gonna have Statlander finish the story?
I gotta, because I mean, if she wins it the story by the skin of her teeth, she almost got her, but by the skin of her teeth, Mercedes got it.
I have been calling this for months at this point, since Mercedes won the goddamn title. And I'm going to say it again, they are going to eventually give it to Camille. It's going to be Camille that's going to take it from Mercedes. And I will say it till I'm blue in the fucking face. Camille signed with the wrong company.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, to add to Dan's point,
and I'm just going to say it, you have arguably one of the greatest NWA women's champions of all time. One of the greatest women's wrestlers in all of wrestling right now. And you're having her do this? You don't have her on the card at all? Not even a dark match? Not even 0 hour? Nothing? The fuck are you doing, Tony?
To add to Dan's point,
one of the greatest of all time, and you're doing nothing with her.
To add to Dan's point, I look at it like
I'll
this.
pay you!
Oh, God.
I'll pay you! I love you! Squeeze me. The presentation side of things, as far as that goes.
You just took all this in like a really weird direction, Michael.
I mean, this is Tony Khan we're talking about, so of course it's going to get a little weird up in here. But I mean, I look at it from a standpoint, too, as far as presentation goes, with how Camille has been booked, and I said this to Robert. Then I'll send it to Robert. I'll say it to all you guys. She's been booked like a chooch. So if you're booked like a chooch, how am I supposed to take you seriously? If you're booked like a chooch, how am I supposed to take you seriously?
The big chooch.
The big chooch.
Truer words could not have been spoken. I tell you what. So I mean, she retains. Again, we have this similar issue that Mariah May has with the AEW Women's Championship. Mercedes has a chokehold on this one. Now, I'm going to immediately say that the fucking Camille thing would be absolutely tragic to happen. Granted, I'm with you. I think she's in the wrong company. But the way she's been built already is, to borrow a word from Mike, is ridiculous. She's a chooch. And if you go back to my terminology, she's a goddamn jahoob. She got squashed by one lady, get thrown into the van, all this other stuff. She's getting yelled at by a broad that literally is half her size. Half her size. So I mean, I'm hoping for the best for her, but I don't see it changing no time soon.
This man said Jehuv. Oh my goodness.
But hey, Tony Khan is the greatest booker in the history of wrestling.
I don't know who said that. I don't know who said that, but you point in my direction because we're gonna have a conversation.
Probably like strawberries on their pizza.
Fucking god damn it, Rob! You know what? We're talking about the greatest the greatest that. Let's talk about the greatest tournament wrestler there ever was and will be. Kazuchika Okada, Will Ospreay, in the final of the Continental Classic. I think the writing was on the wall once we realized that it wasn't Kyle Fletcher. Because, again, and I think a lot of people said star-making performance, missed out, whatever. Probably a whole other episode if we really wanted to get into it. But we knew Okada probably couldn't lose. The idea was maybe Kenny was coming back. And yeah, I'm already jumping way past this match because this match was very good. Will Ospreay is probably the greatest wrestler going right now because you open the show with a 5+ star match, you almost finish the show with a 5+ star match, and that is all kudos to him. I mean, granted, having Okada next to you doesn't exactly hurt. So, but with Kenny coming back, they're already making the teases. You had gotten the video he did for New Japan, so you had a funny feeling he was going to show up today. All he did was show up to present Okada with the belt after he won. And now it looks like we're going to have to wait till fucking July.
If at all.
So with that pointed being out there, and again, I'm bypassing the majority of this match. I'll get back into it in a sec. But if we're building towards Okada Omega 4, why in the fuck are we waiting till July if you're teasing me right goddamn now at the end of the year?
If anything, diverculitis is a pretty tough thing to come back.
That's true.
I imagine Kenneth is going to need some time. He has been training with Ibushi, who is pretty fucked up as well.
Yeah, he is.
So I imagine it's probably going to take that much time to, get back into shape. Cardio-wise, because, the core does play a big component in your cardio, and I'm pretty sure Kenneth has next to no cardio right now, or at least not at the caliber that he once was. So it's just going to take some time. And as far as Kenny Okada 4, I got no problem waiting till July. It'll be worth the wait.
I'm impatient.
If we get a couple Kenny matches in between,
hey,
cool. If we see Okada a little more, great. Once we get to that final, moment of them, staring each other down in the Cowboy Stadium, let's fucking go.
Right. I think it's important to remember that it's been a number of years since these guys have gone at it, and they both have aged and had health issues since. Mm-hmm. And this match is going to need to rely on more of a build-up than the usual Omega and Okada match. So I think July, it does seem far away. I think it'll be here quicker than you know it, and with the proper amount of build-up and matches leading up to it, I think it could pay off with the right proper amount of build-up.
I adhere to what both Robert and Harold say. I mean, the weight is everything for the presentation, the culmination of Kenny Omega and Okada. The trajectory of these gentlemen's careers absolutely stellar and amazing to what we're going to see on the AEW front. We've seen it all around in New Japan and their hour and 5 minute matches and their stellar performances. But I think to wait to Texas, to quote Randy Travis, I got the simple things. I got spicy chicken wings and some French fried onion rings. We are definitely going to see a spectacle when it comes to Kenny Omega and Okada. It's worth the wait. It's all about taking the ride and see where the journey and the overall stopping point is, and the stopping point is right here. We're going to have some stop gaps in between, but the ultimate destination is there.
I'm going to say
you.
I'll pay you!
For you to say July will be here before we know it, I don't want to fucking think about that, because that's going to be... I turned goddamn 39 in July. I don't want to think about that, because that means I'm 1 year closer to 40. I don't want to think about that. Just stop it. Stop.
Oh, you're old, man.
Oh, come on.
Like, shut the fuck up.
Come on.
Right goddamn now.
Right goddamn now.
I won't pay you!
He won't pay you. Not a dime, not a red cent. Okada going over, again, looking like $1 million. Well, this was reminiscent of their clashes in New Japan, minus a whole lot of attack on the neck. Thank God for that one. I'll take that all day long. Ospreay, I gotta ask about Ospreay because he's a major thing. Does this affect him at all? Is it going to be negative on him at all? Do we maybe I don't know what that is. Maybe somehow, some way, continue something with Kyle Fletcher or the Don Callis family?
Yeah, rubber match at Revolution.
Yeah, maybe a Revolution a little further down the line. But no, I think it doesn't hurt Ospreay at all to lose to the greatest tournament wrestler of all time. If I'm gonna lose to anybody, glad it's Okada.
Go.
I think part of the issue here is, does it necessarily make Ospreay look less? Not necessarily. I think it would have been better if it hadn't been Ospreay in the final. And just, how many pay-per-views in a row does he need to lose now? How many pay-per-views has he lost? Has he won a pay-per-view yet this year? How many has he lost in a row?
They lost to Kyle Fletcher last month at Full Gear.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any others before that.
I said it before. I will say it again. There are certain stars in AEW that are on a tier of like a Brock Lesnar or a Cena or Randy Orton. Guys that don't need to be on TV all the time, don't need to be on every pay-per-view. The wow factor of an Okada, of an Ospreay are gone.
Oversaturation.
Right or wrong, it's gone. And they're just regular stars.
They're just fellers.
Now, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But you cannot deny the fact that wow factor is gone.
Now, I got to bring this up to put this into a little bit of perspective. Is it gone in general, or is it gone to the American audience who wasn't used to seeing them as often because
It's the American part.
That's what I'm saying. So is it really oversaturation, or is it just we haven't been exposed and now we're exposed and it doesn't feel special anymore?
I think the issue there, Harold, is that we all know what both these guys can do. We both know how absolutely phenomenal both Okada and Ospreay are. We all know that. Like there's no denying that. We know it. And it's hard to deny it. That's why Triple H went all out to try and get Ospreay. He threw everything at Ospreay to get him to sign. Now, did Ospreay make the right call? That's tough to say, yay or nay. It's really a tough call. But I think in the American market, they are oversaturated because, they show them, they're on Dynamite pretty much. If one of them is not on every week, then the next week the other's on. There is something to be said, whether we like it or not, there is something to be said about how WWE books guys like Cena, guys like Brock. There's something to be said about that. Now, maybe not as less frequent as they are on, but I don't know. I don't know what that happy medium looks like.
No, not yet. Well, at least not at AEW standard. Because we are oversaturated with talent. Don't know who you can really keep going. But did you have a good point? That might be something we have to totally dissect as we keep going on here. As we had stated previously, Kazuchika Okada wins, winning his 5th tournament win, surpassing Masahiro Chono, I want to say, or tying. I want to say passing Masahiro Chono. That's when we get Christopher Daniels come out. Thank you. That's when we get Christopher Daniels come out. He says that this is normally the time where he'd walk the belt down, but he's no longer an EVP. But this man is. That's when Kenny Omega's music hits. He comes out in this awesome purple suit. We've already seen Kenny cutting a promo to Gabriel Kidd on New Japan. So he's kind of been there. We know he's got a match. I want to say he's wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom. But then again, I think this match with Gabriel Kidd might be Wrestle Dynasty.
Wrestle Dynasty.
Thank you.
Wrestle Dynasty.
So that's my confusion. But again, he's out there. He walks the belt down to Okada. They have this great little stare down. And as we've already stated, it looks like they're going to push it all the way to All In Texas, which could be great. Could make people super antsy. But then again, if we're going to get Kenny one time, at least we could use him on television. You know what I mean? Having him on TV could be better than nothing. I do remember the time, and we can talk about it real briefly, when Punk was hurt just this past year, and him and Drew McIntyre literally built their entire feud on social media. I'm not saying that's the same thing we need to happen with Kenny.
Which time that Punk got hurt? He's been hurt a lot.
Oh, I knew you would. I'm just saying we can use Kenny in a whole lot of ways. So glad to see him back. Hope to see something actually happen. Now we get to the main event, and it's the Fatal 4-Way for the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, Switchblade Jay White, Hangman Adam Page, and I need to know, when the fuck did I step into a time machine? Because this is 1996 all over again. I've been saying it for weeks on Max. I've been saying it on numerous episodes of this thing, because every goddamn time Jon Moxley does anything, he gets saved by his buddies, a.k.a. the fucking NWO. Anytime Hogan was in trouble, Hall and Nash saved his ass. Anytime Moxley's in trouble, Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli come and save his ass. I just don't. I don't get. I understand this is meant to go into a new era, but this is somebody else's era that we're replaying.
Exactly. Like, this is WCW 2.0. Like,
to a T.
To the point that I have made countless times. Like, why can't? And I'll say it again. Tony Khan needs to step aside. Like, you're telling me you couldn't have had anybody else have maybe somebody else screw over one of the guys and have, the Death Rider and join the Death Riders? You couldn't have had Swerve cost Hangman the title and Mox pins Hangman? Like, you had options here. You had so many options here, and yet you went with the most predictable fucking bullshit here. And I'm not saying it was a bad show. It wasn't. It was a good show with good matches. But it felt like a fucking Dynamite, and I am so sick of that when you have such a great fucking talent and the stacked roster. And we deserve better, but no one has the fucking balls to call Tony Khan out, and then when you do, the marks, the cult of Khan, immediately feels
I haven't
the
heard that
need
one
to
before.
jump to his defense to say, no, what WWE did. You can criticize both companies. It's okay.
The Cult of Khan. I love that. I love that. But I gotta catch up because I gotta ask these guys because I know how Rob and I know how Harold, I know that they know how I feel. But I gotta go to Mike because I'm hoping maybe Mike feels a little different than I do. I'm hoping somebody's not in the same boat thinking we're stuck in the 90s here.
All right, let me discuss Romper Stomper Mox up in here. So
God.
when I look at... I'm sorry.
What a name.
Neo
What a
Nox
name.
We'll do it. Neo Nox Mox.
Oh,
Okay.
God. Okay, it's a little worse.
It is. But it felt like it was a cluster out of the gate because they were very high octane. It was very fast paced. It's like you're playing an arcade version of SmackDown Here Comes the King or any hardcore match you're playing in a video game. It was too fast paced for me. It's like we're over here, we're over there. I'm going to go off the guardrail. I'm going to run up the ramp. I'm going to get a weapon. It's very video game esque. Bro, the best part of the match for me, and Robert's going to laugh when I say this, was when Jay White, my new hero, gave the Blade Runner to Marina Shafir.
Attaboy.
Oh God, she still I've been steady on that since 2019. She hasn't got better. Her and Jessamine go fuck themselves. I look at it from a stance like this. This match for me, it was too fast. It was just like, okay, we got to get this done. We got to get over here. We got to get over there. Very NWS, like you mentioned. It was very typical faction. We're going to get involved. We're going to do this. And it led to Jay White taking the Death Rider for the 1, 2, 3. Interference galore, which led to, and I'll let Daniel rant on the aftermath after this, and as we all will, but I look at it from a stance like this. It didn't feel like a special world title match that really lived up to the hype. It was just, we need to get this done to get to the aftermath of this pay-per-view. So, the right guy we knew was going to win, that being Jon Moxley. But for me, match was what it was. The best part for me was watching Marina Shafir getting mollywopped with the Blade Runner. That was my personal preference of the match.
I love we're in that.
You don't know me.
You do know me. What do you do with problems? You solve them. Thank
Solve
you,
'em.
Captain Obvious.
Yeah, I really couldn't say anything different than what Mike said. I mean, that was pretty dead on. Just felt like, okay, let's see where the development process of this is going because we know the match is not going to deliver, which it could have, but it really didn't on any kind of level that was worthy of main event.
No, they took John out early. They gave him the shield bomb through the table. He got clipped by a monitor or something because he's pouring blood by the back of his head. Everybody's doing everything.
When is he not bleeding?
I mean, we made all the jokes about all the names of people bleeding, but everybody's getting their shit in. Orange looks like he's on a tear. Then it's Hangman that's on a tear. Then it's Jay White that's on a tear, and then it looks like Jay White's going to win. Mox is back into the ring. Somehow this guy is fighting while bleeding, pouring down the back of his head. And then it turns into where Jay White hits the Death Rider. It looks like John might actually be out. The 1, 2, 3 is about to be counted. Wheeler Yuta makes the save. Completely everybody in the arena is pissed at Wheeler Yuta. Which, again, as they should be, because that's point cheap fucking heat. Then we play on and we play on and we play on, and then it's a loss. And that's it. And Jon Moxley's still champ, which, again, as you guys have pointed out perfectly, they cared. It felt like they were rushing for time. But then we get this long extended ending. So you weren't rushing for time. You were rushing for the return of Adam fucking Copeland. Which, by the way, I'm going to... I don't even... No, I go first, damn it. Who in the fuck cares about Adam Copeland? Tell me the truth.
Nobody.
Be honest for a minute. Be fucking dead for real here. Who gives a shit about Adam Copeland? Nobody! I care about FTR. I do. But not at the capacity where there's such main event fucking guys that you can put some fucking other jackass next to them and go fucking take over the world, guys. But you're trying to push for a Dynamite. But you're taking the biggest star at the biggest time in your last pay-per-view of the year to push a bullshit trios match. That's not even a trios title match, mind you, for your simulcast on Wednesday with HBO Max.
your point when you said who cares about Adam Copeland, to quote the great Keith Sweat, nobody. So I mean, hey man,
That was spot on. But
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, what?
Why? You soiled the name of Hangman Adam Page. You soiled the name of Orange Cassidy, and you soiled the name of Jay White by literally shitting on those three individuals, by beating them in such a fashion where nobody looked good. Not even if you fucking tried. Just for old ass Adam Copeland. And I will repeat what I said in the Discord chat, and dear God, I hope it's not going there. But if Adam Copeland is the guy to dethrone Jon Moxley, that is equivalent to Bill Goldberg beating Kevin Owens for the Undisputed Championship. And it would be a fucking tragedy. A fucking tragedy for this company.
okay. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to. All right. The first point I want to add to that is
God.
the fact that we're taking it all, as Adam Copeland said before we get to Dan. Adam Copeland comes out looking like the lead singer of a rock cover band who's opening
Yes.
for Queensryche.
Yes.
I'm smiling next to you in silent lucidity. There you go. Monster Ballads by the CD. I look at it from a stance like this. You have Adam Copeland coming out there, and you have Christian in the rafters over there. So what they're trying to play is how. What they're trying to play is if Adam Copeland beats Moxley at Revolution and Christian cashes in on Adam Copeland, he could say, "Hey, who's the real ultimate opportunist?" Because Adam Copeland is known for cashing in on people, So you have
Please,
that
no.
ridiculousness, but they're gonna try to do something like that. Hopefully they don't, but. Adam Copeland, since his inception in AEW, he said at the media scrum on his debut at WrestleDream, one of the people he wants to wrestle is Jon Moxley, and these sickos are chanting, "Holy shit." And the fact of the matter is this, I do not want to see this match, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna get the ultimate rockstar cover band lead singer against Jon Moxley, doing it for the skinheads, so it is what it is. This is the presentation that we're getting. Fucking rock on.
No. No. That fucking rock. God. I can't. I don't know.
Boy.
I don't know. Like I want to say this at this exact time last year, we had a little bit better of a direction. Things weren't as fucking bad. I don't know. This just I remember saying it a couple of years ago. The honeymoon period was over, and we were going to start. I was going to start critiquing everything TK has done, and the problem is I haven't stopped, and that's a major issue. This again, as I point out, this is a pay-per-view. This is, as we've all continued to say, a glorified Dynamite for the majority of it, which. DC love to keep pointing out the names. We paid money for this. This is money. This isn't my cable subscription. This is dollar bills, and I got nothing. I got 2 good matches by Will Ospreay. Oh my God, I'm so shocked. No, shut the fuck up. No. I want a refund for Adam Copeland, and I didn't even pay for the show. Thanks, Rob. I didn't even pay for the show, and I want a refund for Adam Copeland. Like,
If you were to tell me back in 2018, 2019 when AEW
2019,
started,
yeah.
and if you were to say, hey, the pay-per-view they're setting up for AEW right now is Edge and Dean Ambrose, I would be pretty pissed.
yeah. I think pretty pissed is a fucking understatement.
I'm just gonna goddamn say at this point I'm fucking sick of it. And I will never understand why the AEW diehards are so okay with this bullshit. But yet anytime WWE pulls this, they shit all over it. Make it make sense.
Accountability needs to be held.
When they do it, because what's arguably gonna happen, and I said it in the chat, I'm gonna say it again. Edge is going to beat Mox. Christian's going to cash in and beat Edge.
Stop it.
He's not Adam Copeland. He's Edge.
It's the TNT title thing all over again.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Exact
It's
same.
literally what it is.
No.
And they'll say, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever." Yeah, fuck you.
This is a massive, massive problem if this is the road of down to the new era of AEW. This will be the road to the end of AEW if it continues down this way. Especially when and again, if we're gonna hold off matches like Okada Omega, and in the meantime your idea for quality is Copeland and Moxley, you got a bad batch, brother. You got a bad
I'll
batch.
tell you what you do. You know how you fix it? You put the title on Danhausen.
I've been saying this for years. Saying it for
I think to add to I'll make a
Every
comparison.
title on Danhausen right now. Book it. Do it.
Every title, they're all very evil. Every single one of them.
Danhausen versus Monet. Let's do it.
Fucking A.
I'll make a comparison. So
Loser goes
with-
back to WWE.
with Adam Copeland, I think talking about like the championships and all that stuff, and talking about Moxley's a kid, and I was doing this when you were having pubes and all that great line that he had. Woo. But I look at
So
it like
cringe.
this: making Adam Copeland the AEW champion in 2025 is like making Christian the ECW champion in 2000. That's what it equates to. Working with the younger talents and all that. That's what it is.
These comparisons are spot on these days. They're spot
It's
on.
Christian. Thank you, Ty Grisham.
Speaking of spot on, that was our review. Hopefully you all feel in similar fashions, or if not, tell us down below. Let us know how you feel differently, or how you are just as in sync with the TSK as you thought you were, which I'm glad to hear it. So as the month trickles down, January has 2 massive events happening, and that's Wrestle Kingdom and then Wrestle Dream. So your boys will be back for the 2 of them. I don't know how we're going to make those work since they're back-to-back shows. But don't trip, Tater Chip. They'll get reviewed. That's all that matters. So, but before we get out of here, we got to talk to the boys. We got to see what's been going down. From the stuff all over my notification board, everybody's been doing some shit. So we got to talk to everybody. Mike, I saw that actually, I watched the predictions episode prior to this one. That's why I knew you guys were in the same boat as me for a couple of reasons. It's all love right here. I gotta love it. So what else is going down with you and yours?
Okay, so with Deep Into the Heart of Wrestling, we just put out, as Mo stated, the AEW World's End Prediction Show, where half of that card I was done, and you can see the frustration on my face. And a lot of stuff is coming out. I mean, we just put out for Deep Into the Heart of Wrestling the return of Tessa Blanchard. Our thoughts of Tessa coming back into the TNA fold, attacking Jordan Grace at Final Resolution. We're going to get another match there with Tessa and Jordan Grace going into Genesis. We gave our thoughts on that. Nicola joined us as well, and we talked about how Tessa is not a puta, but she actually is. And we really identified what Tessa Blanchard and her overall history and her trajectory in her career is. We did, like Rob's mentioned, the Pop Culture History podcast we did talking about Diddy and, the walk to Brooklyn for some cheesecake. Gosh darn it, some juniors. There's going to be more on the mic with Mike's. There's going to be more in Cage coming from myself and Mr. Daniel Crimmins over here. Daniel, Paul, and I will be recording another weekly review tomorrow as that returns. So I'm really looking forward to just getting everybody together. There's going to be another Wrestling Roundtable featuring you, Mo, and Robert, and Nicola, and Daniel, everybody coming to the fold to talk some AEW coming up. So I'm really looking forward to what 2025 brings. All I'll say is subscribe to Mike Larkin 92 and check out all the great stuff from past Maxes, from current shows. There's a whole trajectory and lineage of my podcasting career, along with my friends as well. So we'll be cooking. We'll be straight cooking like Shawn Michaels each and every week on NXT. We're straight cooking. Put the chef's hat on. But we'll pay you, goddammit.
You just got me thinking of Sean back when he was working in catering. He's like, I'm back here now. I just remember the whole thing. To the flashbacks. DC, you're working with Mike. What's up with the pundit? What else is going down? Anything dropping before the new year?
Yeah, pundit should be dropping before the end of the year. Work's been, well, the work. You know how work is. This day and age. It's whenever I get a free time. Whenever I get a free moment, I use that free moment to take a nap. Rob, you know how it is when you're getting close to the, you're on the wrong side of 40. You're getting real close to that edge there, and I don't like it.
It's the best 3-letter word there is.
Father Time is a fucking asshole.
You're telling me, fam. Telling me, Rob, what's
So
happening?
I got Pundit coming. Mike and I, we got our thing coming. We got first episode of Uncaged is going to be about Muhammad Hassan. What went right? What went wrong? How we would have fixed it.
Ooh, nice. I love the fix-it episodes. They get you the perspective of others, and that is always a good one. Speaking of perspective of others, Rob, what's the haps? What's going down? The new year's happening. Anything new happening with you?
So, just to kind of piggyback off what Mike said, we do got deep into the heart of wrestling. The shows that we do have uploaded, the Diddy show, the Tessa show, our prediction show, shows that we've got coming up in the future. We're going to be doing an origin show on Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux about their time in NXT, about their start in TNA. About their first run in WWE, the run they got going now with everything they got going with the Final Testament and the Wyatt Six. We're going to be doing a Wrestle Kingdom watch through of Tetsuya Naito and Jeff Hardy. That should be a lot of fun. So we've got that in the pipeline. Our social medias there is linktree/BlackHeartsEBD3. You'll have a link to Mike's YouTube, to our Facebook, to our Twitter. We don't call it X. Fuck you, Elon.
Attaboy.
I do that here too. The Instagram is there. The TikTok is there while we still have it in America. Go look at some TikTok. Help us run them numbers up while we still can. As far as me personally, I do got some things going. We're going to use 2025 to get a couple of things launched now that we have a bit of a foundation now. So you'll hear it here first. So any of my social media, linktree / hey, it's Rob. Come talk about sour sauce. Actually, you can probably talk to Dan about sour sauce because I think Dan's got the most.
He's got all the sour sauce. It smells bad.
We feeling extra sour tonight, folks.
It just smells bad.
Speaking
of things that should smell good, though, Harold, what's the haps? I need some more foodie adventures, brother. I need more foodie adventures.
Yo, the Too Sweet Click adventures rolling on, continuing our solving series. The next one coming out, we are visiting a tiki lounge out in Solvang called the High Roller Tiki Lounge.
Hey.
Cool little spot in Solvang. Different vibe other than the Dutch vibe that you get in Solvang. So it's kind of cool to hide out for a little bit and have some libations. As I mentioned, it's the Too Sweet Click. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Come check us out if you like food, travel, events, anything in the Los Angeles, Orange County, Southern California area. We're your go-to guides. Yeah.
And movie locations, too.
Don't forget the movie locations. Yeah.
We love movies.
Gotta love it. I hope to see a lot more coming in the new year. That would be something that I think it would be awesome for you guys to keep going. Speaking of things new happening, as Rob is saying, he's got some projects happening. I've got a project happening. Max Football Pod has been a part of the Max Wrestling family for quite too long, and it's about time that it gets its own channel. So starting January the 1st, it gets its own channel, dropping with part 1 of a 3-part series based on the brand new soccer team coming to sunny San Diego, California. We are a soccer town now, and it's about time I break it down to you peasants so that way you understand the differences of what's going down. And it's actually going to be pretty awesome, so you want to check that out. Also, can't stop the English coverage. That's going to continue to happen. And, of course, each and every Thursday, you can catch me on Max, where me and Dazzy are still continuously doing the thing, recapping each and every crazy thing that goes on during the wide world of wrestling, each and every week, that is. So, obviously, make sure you subscribe right here to the Max Wrestling, and make sure you go check out the boys. Support your content creators, as that hashtag used to be. Give them all some love, because the reality is we're one big happy fam. When one grows, we all grow. And don't take that the right way. And if you do, just make sure you say giggity at the end of it. So, with that being said, we'll see y'all in about a week when we come back for the Wrestle Dream, Wrestle the Kingdom combination show? I don't know. We'll figure it out, but that doesn't sound too bad. Too sweet, boys. Let's get on up out of here and enjoy your Monday. Happy New Year before we get to you next time. Hey, you!
I love you. Goodbye, baby. Don't cry, don't.